Jose secretly built a lottery machine at home. Inside it, he placed 49 regular lottery balls, but 7 of them were different. Jose injected a clear liquid into those balls, carefully changing their weight by just 0.1 grams. It was a tiny adjustment, but enough to change how they moved inside the airflow. He flipped the switch and waited. A few seconds later, the air blasted through the machine, and the 7 altered balls rolled out exactly as planned. Jose looked down at the lottery ticket in his hand. Every single number matched. That meant he was only one step away from winning the jackpot. The only thing left was getting access to the real lottery balls. So he went to see Charlie, one of the staff members responsible for the equipment. Jose told him the company needed the keys to the lottery ball case for a promotional event. Charlie immediately looked uneasy. He explained that the keys could only be handed over if the boss or a government inspector was present. Without them, there was no way he could do it. Charlie refused. Jose walked away furious. When he got home, he smashed the lottery machine he had built. The next day, something unexpected caught his attention. Jose went to watch a magic show. At one point, the magician tossed a ping pong ball into the audience. The ball landed right in Jose's hands. It was clearly marked with the number 11. But when Jose looked down again, the number had somehow changed to 13. That moment sparked something in his mind. After the show, Jose waited outside the theater for the magician. When the performer finally came out, Jose approached him and asked how the trick worked. How did he switch those balls right in front of everyone without anyone noticing? The magician explained that it was never about the trick itself, it was about teamwork. Jose pressed further, asking how the team made it work. The magician reminded him they only had a few minutes to talk. Without hesitation, Jose pulled out his wallet and offered to pay for the explanation. The magician laughed and told him the first thing he needed to know. Jose was way too old to start a career as a magician. Still, he decided to give him a few tips. In every magic trick, the team's role is always the same. Their job is to distract the audience while the real trick happens somewhere else. Then the magician asked Jose something. The night before, when the ping pong ball trick was happening, where was Jose actually looking? Was he watching the fish tank on stage, or was he staring at the magician's beautiful assistant in her tight blue costume? That was the secret. Distraction. Someone on stage needed to be impossible to ignore, so the audience would never notice what was really happening. The magician explained that every good trick needed an assistant. Without one, the illusion would fall apart. Those words stuck in Jose's mind. Make people see what you want them to see. That was the key. At that moment, Jose finally understood what he needed. Not just a clever trick, but a team. A group of people who could perform the perfect illusion in front of millions. This is how to win the lottery. So Jose went to a film studio and pulled 2 technicians aside, Mario and Gilberto. He asked them a simple question. Did they want to win some prize money? Gilberto immediately assumed Jose was asking them to steal something, but Jose quickly reassured them that nothing illegal was required. He had figured out a way for them to win the money fair and square. Jose reminded them that they were just ordinary people. 10 years from now, they would probably still be producing infomercials, trying to keep a struggling business alive. And one day they would ask themselves why they had walked away from the best opportunity of their lives. Mario and Gilberto looked at each other for a moment, then they nodded. Just like that, they became Jose's first team members. But Jose still needed one more crucial piece of the plan, someone who could stand in the spotlight and capture everyone's attention. The host of the lottery show, Lena. Lena was a single mother fighting for custody of her son. One day, Jose found her outside the school. She mentioned she was in a hurry and had to get to an event, so Jose offered to give her a ride home. Once they arrived, Jose finally revealed what he had been thinking about. He explained the opportunity and told her she could earn 5 million pesos. For Lena, the decision was immediate. She agreed without hesitation.
¿Te quieres ganar 5 millones de pesos?
Now the team had almost everyone they needed. Only one person was missing, Charlie, the senior custodian who held the key to the lottery equipment. Jose began quietly observing him. Over several days, he learned that Charlie was a deeply religious man. He donated most of his paycheck to the church and prayed constantly for his father's recovery. Jose eventually approached him during a visit to the hospital while Charlie's father was seeing a doctor. He tried to recruit him into the plan, but Charlie shut the idea down right away. Jose made one final attempt to persuade him, hoping money might change his mind. But Charlie remained firm. For him, the issue was not about money at all. His faith would never allow him to take part in something illegal. He even warned Jose not to continue pursuing the idea. Out of respect for their long acquaintance, he would not report the conversation. But if Jose kept planning something suspicious, Charlie made it clear that he would turn him in. Jose had expected resistance, but not from the same man twice. Still, the magician's advice continued to echo in his mind. Every member of a team needed a reason to participate. Some were motivated by money, others were driven by family. Charlie stood in sharp contrast to the rest. Faith was the only thing guiding his decisions. That difference made Jose realize something important. If Charlie was ever going to join the plan, it would take something far more extreme, and Jose was not ready to give up on the heist. His daughter was a talented young race car driver, and her career required expensive professional equipment. Jose was determined to help her reach her dream, no matter the cost. So he made a dangerous decision. Late one night, Jose broke into the church that Charlie regularly attended. Mario and Gilberto came with him. At first, their plan was simple. They intended to steal the church's donations. If the priest lost the money, Charlie would feel pressured to contribute more and might fall into financial trouble. That pressure could push him into joining the team. But after searching the church from top to bottom, they found nothing. Desperate and frustrated, Jose made a reckless move. He grabbed a candle, lit the curtains, and opened the gas valve. The three men quickly left the building. Moments later, the entire church erupted in flames. When the news reported the incident, it was ruled a gas leak. No suspicion pointed toward them. The priest was devastated. He had been collecting donations for years to build a larger church, and in one night, everything was gone. When he spoke to Charlie, he asked a simple question about whether a candle had been left burning the day before. Charlie suddenly remembered that he had forgotten to blow one out before leaving. The realization crushed him. He blamed himself completely for the disaster. Overwhelmed with guilt and unable to afford the repairs, Charlie began thinking about Jose's offer. He eventually hinted to the priest that he might have a way to earn money, even if the method was not entirely clean. Surprisingly, the priest encouraged him. As long as no one was harmed, he believed it could be seen as guidance from God. And just like that, the final piece fell into place. The team was complete. Jose, Lina, Mario, Gilberto, and Charlie were now ready to move forward together. Once the team was assembled, Jose finally revealed the full plan. 2 hours before the Sunday live drawing, they would enter the office early. Charlie would retrieve the lottery balls from the case. Meanwhile, Mario and Gilberto would prepare the recording equipment. Lina would take her place on stage, dressed in a way that naturally captured the audience's attention. The next step was simple but risky. Charlie would start the drawing machine. As the balls popped out, Lina would read the numbers and memorize them immediately. At the same time, Mario and Gilberto would record clear footage of the entire draw. Once everything was finished, the balls would be placed back exactly where they were found. Jose would then use the memorized numbers to secretly purchase the winning lottery ticket. Later, during the official live broadcast, the real trick would happen. Lina would confidently announce the numbers she had already memorized, while Mario and Gilberto quietly replaced the live video feed with the footage they recorded earlier. To the audience watching at home, everything would look completely normal. In reality, the real drawing would be hidden from view. Jose reminded everyone how serious this was. Millions of people would be watching the broadcast. If they were caught, prison would be waiting for all of them. But if the plan worked, the jackpot would be worth $160 million, and they would split the money together. For Jose, this was not stealing. In his mind, they were simply finding a way to win. The next challenge was gaining access to the studio earlier than usual. Without that time, none of this would be possible. So the following day, Jose and Charlie staged a carefully planned incident. Just 2 minutes before the live broadcast, they deliberately sabotaged the drawing machine. The balls became stuck inside, and the entire broadcast was suddenly on the brink of being canceled. Everyone panicked. Then, with only 10 seconds left before airtime, Jose and Charlie managed to fix the machine. The show went on, and the crisis appeared to be solved just in time. Using that close call as an example, Jose suggested a new idea to his boss. From now on, the team should start rehearsing 2 hours before every broadcast to avoid problems like this in the future. The boss agreed immediately. From that moment on, the team had exactly what they needed. Every day, they were allowed early access to the studio for rehearsals. The plan seemed to be moving forward perfectly. But when they began practicing the process, a serious problem appeared. Even with 2 full hours to prepare, Lina struggled to memorize the random set of winning numbers. If she could not remember them during the broadcast, the entire operation would collapse. Jose knew exactly what pressure would motivate her. He reminded Lina about her son. Winning this money could guarantee her custody and secure their future together. Determined to protect her child, Lina pushed herself harder than ever. During the next rehearsal, she finally managed to recite the numbers correctly. The entire team felt relieved, believing they were finally ready. But there was something they did not know. Lina had not truly memorized the numbers at all. Instead, she secretly wrote a tiny cheat sheet on her wrist. The next morning, Jose is suddenly called into his boss's office. The message is brief and urgent. He is told to pack his things because he will be leaving immediately. For a moment, Jose feels his heart sink. He thinks the plan has been discovered and everything is about to collapse. But the truth is something entirely different. His boss explains that he is preparing to run for president and wants Jose to join his campaign team. They will be relocating in just 3 days, and Jose needs to wrap up all unfinished business before leaving. For Jose, this changes everything. The lottery heist can no longer wait. The plan has to happen immediately. As the timeline suddenly speeds up, another problem appears. The team is no longer satisfied with the original payout. Lena wants more money so she can move abroad with her son and start a new life. Mario and Gilberto realize that after paying off their debts, they will be left with very little. Charlie also needs a large amount of money to rebuild the church that burned down. So they approach Jose and ask to renegotiate the deal. After thinking it over, Jose agrees to divide the entire jackpot evenly. The 160 million pesos will now be split 5 ways, giving each member 32 million. With that new arrangement, everyone's motivation grows stronger than ever. But these 2 changes also increase the pressure. The plan now has a tighter timeline, which means a higher risk of mistakes. At the same time, the equal split makes every member more invested in making sure the operation succeeds. Finally, the day of the heist arrives. Earlier that day, the team secretly records the winning numbers during their rehearsal. To avoid any leaks, all 5 members place their phones inside a bag and lock it together with the lottery balls inside the cabinet. Only then do they head out to buy their tickets. They purchase 5 tickets in total, including one with the exact combination of numbers they recorded earlier. Everything now depends on those numbers. Meanwhile, a notary public responsible for supervising the lottery is on her way to the studio. But before she arrives, she is involved in a car accident. The other driver hits her and immediately flees the scene. The impact injures her neck and leaves her unable to attend the broadcast. She calls Jose to inform him about what happened. What she does not realize is that the accident was part of the plan all along. The driver responsible for the hit and run is actually Jose's wife. With her unable to attend, only one notary public remains at the studio. She is an elderly woman who carefully completes the routine procedures, checking the weight of the balls and inspecting the equipment. However, she worries that her eyesight may not be good enough to clearly see the broadcast screen. Mario and Gilberto quickly step in and suggest using a much larger monitor to help her see better. It appears to be a helpful gesture, but in reality, the oversized screen blocks her view of the actual live feed. As the countdown continues, only 15 minutes remain before the broadcast begins. Jose heads to the makeup room to check on Lena. What he finds shocks him. In her panic, Lena has written the winning numbers directly onto the mirror so she can remember them. Jose immediately wipes the numbers away. The broadcast is about to start, and Lena still has not memorized the sequence. In desperation, she tries to write another cheat sheet on her hand. Jose stops her immediately. If anyone notices something like that, the entire plan will collapse, and they will all end up in prison. He tells her to focus only on the numbers and block out everything else. Then he gives her a final promise. If she loses confidence and signals before the broadcast begins, the entire plan will be canceled and they will walk away as if nothing ever happened. But Lena refuses to back down. She is too desperate to lose this chance to escape with her son. So with only minutes left before going live, Lena pushes herself to remember the numbers one last time. On the day of the broadcast, Lena appears on stage looking more polished than ever. Her makeup is flawless, her outfit even more striking than usual, and the audience's attention immediately gravitates toward her. Just 1 minute before airtime, something unexpected happens. The notary public who was injured in the earlier accident suddenly arrives at the studio wearing a neck brace. Even in that condition, she insists on doing her job. Jose is surprised by her determination and tries to convince her to rest, but she refuses. Then, at the most critical moment, Charlie quietly creates a distraction. He cuts his hand with a tool and asks the notary public to help him treat the wound. Concerned, she follows him away from the studio, leaving the broadcast area just as the show begins. Inside the studio, the countdown reaches 0. The live broadcast starts, and the remaining notary public presses the button to activate the drawing machine. The balls bounce wildly inside the chamber as millions of viewers watch from home. For the team, the next 8 seconds feel like an eternity. Everything they plan depends on this brief moment. When the balls finally stop, Mario and Gilberto move quickly. They switch the live feed with the footage they recorded earlier. Lena takes a deep breath and begins announcing the numbers one by one. Each correct number brings them closer to success. The notary public watches the monitor carefully. Viewers across the country follow along from their homes, and Jose's wife silently prays in front of the television. Lena keeps her composure the entire time. She calmly finishes announcing the sequence and repeats the numbers once more to confirm them. When the broadcast ends, the official paperwork is signed. Against all odds, the heist has worked. This moment becomes the highlight of the story. Every small detail in the plan finally comes together. The tension of those 8 seconds, where a single mistake could have exposed everything, keeps the audience on edge and shows how carefully the operation was constructed. That night, the team gathers at a bar to celebrate their success, but Jose quickly reminds everyone to stay calm. For the next week, they need to act like nothing happened. No sudden spending, no claiming the prize too soon, and no behavior that might attract attention. The safest plan is to wait and let someone trustworthy collect the money later. Unfortunately, the plan falls apart almost immediately. The very next day, the notary public receives shocking news. Someone has already claimed the jackpot. That person is Lena. After learning that her ex-husband was trying to secure a visa to take their son abroad, Lena panicked. Afraid she would lose her child forever, she tore up the agreement with the team, claimed the money early, and disappeared with the cash. When Jose hears about it, he quickly gathers the rest of the group. Everyone looks at each other in disbelief before the realization hits them all at once. Lena betrayed them. They rush to her apartment, hoping to stop her or at least confront her, but the place is empty. She does not answer the door, and none of their calls go through. Jose tries to keep the group calm and warns them not to do anything reckless. If anyone else claims the prize right now, it could expose the entire operation. But panic takes over. As soon as they leave the meeting, Mario, Gilberto, and Charlie rush off to claim their own winnings. They fear that if the scam is uncovered, their lottery tickets will become worthless. Jose realizes he has no choice but to move quickly as well. Fortunately, there is one advantage on his side. He and his wife were never legally married, which means their connection cannot easily be traced. So he sends her to claim the prize in a lottery office located in a neighboring city. The tax rate there is lower, and the distance buys them time. By the time the paperwork reaches the notary public, Jose plans to have already resigned from his job, leaving investigators with no clear trail back to him. After all the prizes are claimed, the notary public begins reviewing the winner information. Almost immediately, something about the situation feels suspicious. The timing is too perfect. The entire 160 million jackpot was claimed right after the boss suddenly left the company. Technicians also notice another strange detail. Every single winning ticket was purchased at the exact same lottery store. That discovery pushes the notary public to investigate further. She visits the store and questions the owner. The woman cannot remember the buyers clearly since she sees too many customers every day. But she does recall something unusual. Most players let the machine generate random numbers for them. These buyers were different. They carefully called out the numbers themselves, one by one, as if they already knew the winning combination. The notary public returns to the studio to look for more clues. At first, everything seems normal. Then she notices something small but important. The camera operator's joystick is positioned at a different angle than it usually is during live broadcasts. At that moment, the entire scheme finally becomes clear to her. The team had secretly recorded the lottery draw earlier and used the joystick to overlay the recorded footage onto the live broadcast. What the audience saw was not the real draw at all. While the investigation begins to unfold, Jose is busy tying up his own loose ends. He visits his boss to submit his resignation. The boss does not want to lose him. After all, they have worked together for 15 years. Jose also knows about the boss's own financial crimes. If he were to speak up, the boss could easily end up in prison. In the end, the boss has no choice but to accept Jose's resignation. As Jose leaves the office, the notary public approaches him outside. She suspects corruption within the company and asks if he left because he discovered the boss was manipulating the lottery. Jose tries to discourage her from digging deeper. He suggests that even if the boss was involved, someone with powerful connections would never face consequences. The people who would suffer would be ordinary employees like them. But the notary public refuses to let it go. She heads straight to the boss's office to confront him. While inside, she notices a photograph sitting inside a box on his desk. The woman in the picture is one of the jackpot winners. The boss casually mentions that the woman is Jose's wife. At that moment, everything finally connects in her mind. The overtime shifts at the studio, the suspicious car accident on the day of the broadcast, Charlie's sudden injury, and all the strange events surrounding the drawing. None of it was coincidence. It was a carefully planned scam. The investigation now follows a clear trail of clues. Step by step, the truth becomes impossible to ignore. Her persistence and attention to detail drive the story forward, showing that she refuses to let corruption or pressure silence the truth. She brings the evidence to the president of the Lottery Commission. Instead of supporting her investigation, he advises her to keep the scandal quiet. If people discover that the lottery can be manipulated, public trust will collapse. Ticket sales will drop, and many charities that depend on lottery funding will suffer. She then tries the tax office, hoping someone there will take the case seriously. But she receives the same warning. Exposing the fraud would mean admitting that her own department failed to oversee the system properly. That failure could cost everyone their jobs. But the notary public refuses to stay silent. She studies the broadcast footage frame by frame and confirms that the video feed was manipulated. Once she has enough proof, she sends the entire case to the press. The scandal explodes across the country. Headlines everywhere expose the massive lottery fraud. By that time, Lena has already disappeared with the money after claiming her prize early. But the rest of the team is not so lucky. Charlie, Mario, and Gilberto are arrested almost immediately. Meanwhile, Jose and his wife are attending their daughter's race car competition when they suddenly see police arriving at the track. Jose instantly realizes the game is over. He tells his wife to take their daughter and run. Then he rushes onto the racetrack, stops his daughter's car, and begins driving it in circles, creating chaos and buying his family precious time to escape. Even so, the escape does not last long. Jose is eventually arrested as well. In the end, Jose, Charlie, Mario, and Gilberto all end up behind bars. Each of them continues to claim innocence. After a year-long court battle, the four men are convicted of misdemeanor charges. Their assets are frozen, and the case officially comes to an end. But one mystery remains unsolved. Authorities never reveal what ultimately happened to the 160 million jackpot. And to this day, no one knows what the real winning numbers were on that fateful broadcast. So the moral of the story is, if your life plan starts with homemade lottery balls and ends with burning a church, maybe just get a normal side hustle.